Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a while. I've been working a lot and been on a vacation with my girlfriend and it was great. But I'm back to make more videos and I really intend to do so, and I thought what better way than doing a top 10 death metal album list, which I changed to 15 because there's too much good shit in death metal. So without further ado, let's get this video rolling. I'm trying to not talk too much because I don't want to make a long ass video that nobody wants to see, but listening to obviously Mortician Chainsaw Dismemberment as the video goes, first press, so that's always awesome to have an original. So anyway, let's get into it. So number 15, this isn't really going to be in order until I get to the top one. So number 15 is going to be Dying Fetus, Destroy the Opposition. This album's incredibly brutal, catchy, amazing. I remember when I first heard it, I was like, wow, this album really does kick ass. And the battling vocals between John Gallagher's super low gutturals and Jason's highs, well, kind of highs, they're more like mids, but it's so wicked. They just go so well together, and with the drumming and just everything comes together. This band really became their own on this album. I think Killing on Adrenaline was great, but this album they really became their own sound and everything. ACD, Dying Fetus, Destroy the Opposition. Pretty awesome album, and hopefully, shit, almost knocked my camera over. Yikes. Anyway, awesome album. Everybody should already know that one. And if you don't, I don't know what you're doing. It's crazy. Camera shit, God. Next up, we're going to talk another Relapse album. We're going to talk about Mortal Throne of Nazarene by Incantation. This album is just atmosphere ridden to the bone. It's probably Incantation's, even though they're an insanely dark band overall, this is probably their darkest work. John McEntie's best riffs on his guitar. Greg Pirello's most insane vocal performance, really low, very disgusting. Everything is inhuman in this album, and it's just a horror show. And for some reason, it reminds me of A Tropical Paradise. Don't even ask why. Don't worry about it. I don't know why. This one and Diabolical Conquest remind me of A Tropical Paradise. They just make me happy. They make me smile. But yeah, awesome album. I want to get the vinyl or the record, but very expensive. I plan on getting it the start of this week. But yeah, Incantation, Mortal Throne of Nazarene, number 14. Okay, so that leaves us next, which is going to be Regurgitation with Tales of Necrophilia. If you want to talk about an underrated album, this album is absolutely, completely underrated. This is the epitome and best of pure meat and potatoes, brutal death metal. It does not get better than this, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Coming out of 1999, what more do you want from a brutal death metal band? These guys were young, they were swift, they played their instruments like masters at such a young age, and you know what? I wish I could have made an album like this, but it's really impressive. This album's incredible. Artwork is pretty damn awesome and grotesque. Everybody should know this album, but they don't, and you should listen to it if you are unfortunate to not listen to it, or fortunate because it's going to be your first time and it'll blow your fucking mind apart. Anyway, Regurgitation, Tales of Necrophilia, number 13. So, number 12. We're going to get right into number 12, and we're going to go with UK classic Bolt Thrower. Got the original artwork CD here, and the reissue artwork, which I like even better on LP. And god damn, most people's favorite bolt thrower album I would imagine is either Fourth Crusade or War Master, but this one definitely takes the cake for me. I absolutely adore this album. The energy is intense, the production is perfect for me. Just everything is perfect. The guitars sound amazing, and as a guitarist, I always appreciate that. Everything is full of packed, punchy, bass-ridden energy. Nothing more, nothing less. Just Bolt Thrower, Realm of Chaos. Everybody should love it. How can you not? So, that was number 12. Number 11 is gonna go with the cassette. And this is a very special cassette. I'm gonna go with Mortal Decay's Forensic. This album is goddamn immaculate. I don't know what more you could say about it. Songwriting is perfect. Vocals are perfect. Guitars are perfect. Drums are perfect. Everything is perfect about this album. Lyrics are horrifying but interesting and very fun to read, but very disturbing. This is a perfect death metal album. You can't make anything better than this. It doesn't get better than this. This is Mortal Decay at their best, in my opinion, and nobody talks about this unless they're Mortal Decay fans. It's like one of those things, like, this is a popular album if you're a fan of Mortal Decay. Outside of that, nobody even really mentions it, and it blows my mind because this album is even better than most of the legendary classics that people love to talk about, even like what I'm talking about right now. This album is incredibly good. Mortal Decay, Forensic. Probably also going to be the newest album I talk about on the entire list in 2002. Anyway, alright, just checking the time. Next up, a little curveball, because most people wouldn't pick this one, especially from the most popular death metal band. Obviously Death we're talking about. And my favorite album, at least currently, it can change any day, but overall I think my favorite is actually Individual Thought Patterns, and there's a lot of reasons why. I think the songwriting is completely superior to almost anything else. It's amazing songwriting, I would go as far to say. Andy LaRocque is the guitar player on this, the second guitar player, and he does a lot of the solos, and you can really tell because you can hear a lot of King Diamond come in the leads, and King Diamond is, you know, I love King Diamond like a shit ton, so that helps with this album. Steve DiGiorgio, this is the best thing he's ever done in my opinion. His bass shines through all the instruments very heavily, and he's such a killer player, and like, I cannot state that enough on this album. It's so apparent. But basically, yeah, just incredible. And then Gene Hoglan on drums, like, what more do you need? Like, this is a completely super group of an album. This album is just perfect. And it's such a beautiful, it gets intense-ish. It's all over the place. It just has everything you need from this band, and I think it's really underappreciated in their catalog since it's the least popular and people just generally don't talk about it. But yeah, Death with Individual Thought Patterns. That will be number 10, I believe. So yeah, and the CD is just the double CD remaster with the live tracks. Okay, like. So what should I get under next? I'm gonna do another record only. So the next album. This is the album where I went, holy fucking shit, when I first heard it years ago. And what better album to have that reaction to than None So Vile by Cryptopsy. Sounds completely fucking bizarre, weird, and on paper it should have never worked out so well, because they have so much melody, so much brutality, so much cleanness, so much rawness, so much everything that you could ever want from a death metal band mixed into one album. If this doesn't make you happy, I don't know what does, because it's everything in death metal except maybe the doom stuff mixed into one album. It's incredible. Flo is a killer drummer. The guitars are insane. The riffs are just incredible. I was so proud of myself years ago when I learned Phobophile. I felt like I was like a tear-up guitar player when I learned that one, for obvious reasons. But the person who really sells the album, of course, is Lord Worm. The album wouldn't be without him. It just wouldn't be. And these guys are from Canada. I almost said Canada. What the hell? But they're from Canada, and they just made a killer album. Blasphemy Made Flesh is close, but this album in particular just takes the cake. It's a perfect album. None So Vile, number 9, I suppose. So next, number 8. What are we gonna do for number 8? I'm gonna go with another early band that everybody listens to in their death metal journey that you can't leave off a list. I'm gonna go with Obituary with Cause of Death. God, the glare is awful. But yeah, Cause of Death is quite literally perfection, I would say. In every sense of the word. This might be the best mid-paced death metal album ever made, in my opinion. It just gets everything right and nothing wrong. The atmosphere, once again, like I was saying on Mortal Throne of Nazarene, way different atmosphere, but same level of just incredibly atmospheric and well done. I have nothing bad to say about this album. John Tardy's vocals are completely inhuman. They sound completely ridiculous, and just everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. And the guitar tone, oh my god, the guitar tone. Do I need to say anything about the guitar tone? That you already know what I'm talking about, unless you're crazy and haven't heard this album. So number 8, Cause of Death by Obituary, the one and only. Nothing to match them. Next up, most people's favorite Martin Van Drunen album is going to be Consuming Impulse, which is a fantastic album. I think you could see it up there. Yeah, I have that on vinyl. But my favorite work from him is definitely Last One on Earth by Asphyx. This album, start to finish, is worth every little detail, from the sound, the production, the instrumentation, the musicians, the songwriting, to the fucking lyrics. And I don't pay attention to lyrics that much in most death metal, but in this album I really do. I really do a lot, because the lyrics are fantastic, frankly, in this one. And this is one of those few albums, like, for the most part, I don't mind remasters. Well, not for the most part, probably 70, yeah, most part. I don't mind, but this one I really do. The remaster CD does not sound like this original, which I'm very proud to own. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds very modern and kind of dry. So if you listen to the original one, because it has the buzzsaw guitar tone and the insanely depraved production. It's awesome. It's an amazing album, though. It's up there with the best Death Doom album of all time, for sure. Asphyx and Incantation, can't go wrong with them. Next album I'm going to go over with the, one of the most angry things to ever touch the needle. We're going with Decay. 1990. Intensity, uniqueness, weirdness even. Blasphemous. Completely blasphemous creation. This album is nothing short of perfection. Most people will go with Legion for their favorite. I pick this one because every song is so memorable to me. I mean, you can name us any song on this album and you're going to remember it and you're going to love it, like a 10 out of 10 instantly. so classic, so incredible. I got the 2014 reissue on wax here. This is an original CD. Just an incredible album. I mean, Glenn Benton's vocals speak for themselves. I mean, nobody can do it like he can. He sounds absolutely insane. He sounds like he is possessed, and he plays that way too. The whole band does. And God, this album is amazing. That's all I'm gonna say about it, because I could go on forever. So I'm just gonna give it the respect it deserves and say it's perfect, because it is. It doesn't get better than that. What do we got left? Okay. Next up, we're gonna go with, apparently this is number 4. I lost track for a little bit there, but nothing gets more classic than this one. Of course, I'm talking about Tomb of the Mutilated. This might be one of the most, if not the most, classic album covers and iconic albums in all of death metal, and one of metal's most iconic pieces in general. When I first heard this album, obviously my mind was fucking blown, like however many years ago, 6 years ago. I got the OG logo. It's a reissue, but OG logo and record here. Obviously Chris Barnes' vocals were completely ridiculous. Alex Webster had spider fingers, and Paul Mazurkowitz drumming was perfection. I mean, everybody played to perfection on this album, and you know all the members. Like, you just know everything about this band if you're a fan of death metal, because this band does no wrong. To this day, every single album they made is the worst album Cannibal Corpse has made, I would say, is like at the worst a 7 out of 10. Like, they've never done less than that. Every song on this album is a classic and essential listening, and what more can you say? I mean, turn on anything and look up death metal, and this is an album that's going to come up first before anything. So yeah, Tomb of the Mutilated by Cannibal Corpse. Can't live without it. Who could? You gotta be crazy to say that you could live without that one. Alright, that leads me to this one's number 4. That one was number 5. Sorry. This next one, we're gonna be talking about the most visceral, maybe most aggressive, hyper energy ridden death metal album of all time that just makes you feel like beating the shit out of someone, even though you don't, obviously. But we're talking about Malevolent Creation Retribution, and holy balls, this album is incredible. This album is literally incredible. Brett Hoffman's vocals are just, they make you scream like the Mortician track is doing. That's all I'm gonna say. They're that good. Everybody here is doing a perfect job, and Rob Barrett was obviously in this band, and Alex Marquez. I mean, all the band members did such a good job. There's so much technicality and aggressiveness to be found in this album. I mean, this is an original copy that I got for only $12. I mean, incredible price for this, because people are selling it for $60 now. But this album's amazing, and I don't know anybody who hasn't heard it, but if you haven't, do yourself a favor and treat this as good as you would any other classic death metal release that got way more recognition. This is as good, if not better, than any death metal band you've ever heard of. This album is perfection, and there's nothing that sounds quite as angry to me in the space of music. Alright, we're into our top 3 now. These ones are very specifically ordered. We're going to go with another one of my favorite death metal bands, which is Immolation with Failures for Gods. This album is incredible. Most people might go with Dawn of Possession, Even Here and After, or Close to a World Below, or a new one like Atonement. But a lot of people kind of sleep on this album, and this album is more than just songs being written. This is a whole movement. This is a whole atmosphere. This is a whole piece in one album. Ross Dolan's vocals get just, this is when he really starts hitting his stride, in my opinion. Like, probably on Here and After, but this even more so. His vocals get even more grim and disgusting. And Rob Vigna, what more do I need to say? Everybody in this album, the drumming sounds perfect. People say it sounds weird, but it's perfect for this album. Trust me. Failures for Gods is just a very overlooked immolation masterpiece, and I recommend anybody who doesn't really give it a chance, give it a chance, because this is my favorite one, easily. Maybe not as many memorable tracks, standouts, as Close to World Below or something like Down in Possession, but this album as a whole is the best album, and I always, every day I'm going, can you hear us? Death to Jesus. I mean, how can you not? Sorry, keep getting close to check the time. I don't have a lot of space left. So, number 2. The album that started it all for me. Morbid Angel's Covenant. This album started everything for me. I wouldn't love death metal so much if it weren't for this album getting me into it. This album's absolutely perfect. David Vincent's best vocal performance, Trey Azagth's best guitar performance, Eric Rutan performed with these guys live when this album came out. I remember seeing God of Emptiness and Rapture and my mind being blown forever. Nothing was ever the same after this album. Pete Sandoval, maybe his best drumming performance, but people will say World Downfall or Altars, but it can vary. Anyway, Morbid Angel Covenant. This album changed my life forever. This is the album that got me into death metal and changed my life with music completely. Got me into extreme metal in general, probably. Alright. Just enough time for number 1. Which is none other than, in my opinion, the greatest of all time. And we're talking Suffocation, Effigy of the Forgotten. Frank Mullen, with his extremely professional sounding and insanely guttural vocals that never got matched again by him. Terrence Hobbs' unmatched guitar work, Doug Cerrito, and we have Mike Smith's unmatched drumming and his patterns and his fills. So this album I've listened to, I feel like, every day of my life since I got into it. It's the best death metal album ever, in my opinion. It'll beat any album in general. For me, this album is so close to my heart, I couldn't live without it. It's the groundwork for modern death metal in general, in my opinion. Modern slam, brutal death metal, and this is hard to out-brutalize genuinely without being a tryhard. This is so technical, so impressive, and they were all so young when they did this. So Suffocation, Effigy of the Forgotten. I could go on for hours, but I have to end the video, sadly. But this album is perfection. I'll probably do a review just for this album. Number 1, Effigy of the Forgotten by Suffocation. So that'll be the end of my video, guys, and I hope you enjoyed and thought it wasn't completely bad. First press, by the way, of Effigy here with the listenable record. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I hope you liked my list, and make sure to leave comments and subscribe if you want, or leave a like, whatever. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.